Okay.
Okay. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to Kiki Loves Nigeria. And on this episode, as promised, I told you guys I was going to have somebody come and teach
Okay.
us and help us
Um.
understand.
uh,
Go ahead.
first, my name is Nana Kokosekye. I'm a traditional African priest of Akan lineage, practicing in the Bono region of Ghana. Um, as a practitioner, I've been practicing for about 20 years.
Oh, okay. And how did you start practicing? Tell us some. Tell us how. Tell us more about your background. What made you get into African spirituality? Okay, y'all. Remember, he's in Ghana, so there's probably going to be a delay. Did you hear me?
It would have been through my great grandmother. Yeah. Yes. You asked how did I get started, and I got started but after I graduated from college. I really didn't have a direction. I couldn't find a job, in my degree, and so it was kind of like really frustrating. And then one of my grandfathers, my grandfather had more than 21 children. So one of his daughters from another family in Virginia reached out to me, and she just called me out of nowhere, and she introduced herself. Sorry about that. She introduced herself to me, and she told me my family's history and that we had an ancestor from Ghana by the name of Adama Seche.
Mhm.
So, I had an ancestor that gave me a connection, and then I decided that I would take a trip to Ghana. And whereas most people, when they go to Africa, they stay in a hotel. We rented a house for a year, and what I fell in love with was I fell in love with traditional culture. I fell in love with a neighboring village in the western region, a town of Takoradi. But the village is called Apuan, and there was a shrine there. And for me, indigenous culture was never something that I looked at as being evil. Because one is communal, everyone has access to it, and so because it's communal, there's accountability, and because of that, it was just like, wow, this is really fascinating. This is like a source of um, a connection that I can trace back to my own ancestry, and then at the same time I can actually get something from it. So then I started the process of recording the oral history of different priests, different shrines, and over the last 20 years, that's all I've ever done.
So let me ask you a question. So does every village have a shrine?
Yeah.
Oh, they do.
Well, see, because of Western culture, most of the shrines have been abandoned. Yeah, but most of the shrines have been abandoned. Families won't upkeep the shrines. They won't care for their systems of spirituality or even study the indigenous medicine or medicinal practices anymore. So what happens is you have to come to the northern part of Ghana, where you see a larger retention for the passing of ancestral knowledge onto the next generation.
So in the urban areas, you don't see so many people practicing spiritual African traditional spirituality anymore. Is that correct?
It's very different. What you see in the urban areas is more so like fortune tellers, people
Mm-hmm.
that they don't practice an indigenous system, but they may have access to indigenous technology that they may use to influence people around them.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Now, tell us, finish telling us about how, so you started studying the history of these shrines in these different villages. Now, if you neglect the shrine, isn't there some type of punishment like that comes on that village or comes on that family? I mean, I always thought you
Oh,
can't just
sorry.
neglect the shrine like that.
Yeah, but I mean, think about it. If you if you stop using your car, eventually the car's gonna. What's gonna happen with the car?
It won't start anymore. It's not going to work. It's
Yeah,
not
it's
going
not
to
gonna
work.
work. And
Yeah.
so you know that because the car is is no longer able to push you forward. Is the problem with the car?
It's the problem with the car because it can't push me forward anymore. Um,
Yeah,
the problem might have started with me not starting the car every day and it not pushing forward
exactly. The
the results.
responsibility is on you because
Yes.
it's just a ideal or a
Mm-hmm.
principle that guides you, and it's not based on the ideology of a European. See, the European, he won't stop Thanksgiving. He won't stop Independence Day. He
Mm-hmm.
won't stop talking about George Washington and the cherry tree. He won't stop. He will make sure that he preserves his archetypes, he glorifies them, and he gives them to you, and you'll still practice them. And you'll put a black name on it.
Mm-hmm.
So you can operate a institution that was created by your ancestors and drive it forward and bring it up to date, or you can relegate yourself to just be a driver for his.
Mm-hmm. Okay, wait a minute, y'all. I think he froze up. So okay, that's real. That is really really interesting. Really interesting. So once you started recording this and you saw people weren't caring for these shrines anymore, what were the people saying in the village? What were they saying? Why were they saying people didn't care for the shrine anymore? Because like to me,
Oh,
that's a
because
big.
they want they want to go to America. They want to be white. They want to be like the European. They want a white divinity. They want something that doesn't look like them, that will somehow magically make the reality that they still have to live in this world and be responsible for everything that they have, and like that, boom,
Mhm,
I can just enjoy my life. And there are examples in traditional culture where you have people that work every day. You have people that raise their children. They sacrifice to send their children to school. They sacrifice so that they can get something to eat. They conserve their resources in their environment. They know how to filter water effectively. They know what to do with the water sources that are around them, not to defecate, not to urinate, or to put refuse in natural water sources.
mhm,
They know that for agriculture, in agriculture, even though you have arable land, at some point you have to reforest that land. You have to use certain trees like teak, coconut, to reforest the forest. So you can have a plot of land that's 100 acres, but that doesn't mean in 100 years it's going to be just farmland. It should be a forest again.
oh, Oh, wow.
You have to start the cycle and continue to regenerate the land and preserve its water sources. So, like when we do celebrations, we have a calendar that a European didn't tell us that today was Saturday or didn't tell us that today was Friday. They didn't teach us that. They didn't teach you that if you're born on a Friday, you have a particular name. If you're male or female, they didn't give us a calendar. So, for me, I was like, whoa, you mean to tell me none of this information, even like how to stitch bones together, how to heal wounds, how to have a natural childbirth, and the medicines that are required. They didn't need a white person to tell them that.
Yeah. And I noticed that when
So for yeah,
no, go ahead. What were you gonna say?
no, I mean, it is what it is. It's called the answer. There's nothing you can do when you have the answer. The answer is the answer. And when
Hmm.
you realize that, it's the answer. There's nothing else that you can say. The thing is, it's like accountability. There's a difference between character and something that is a science.
Hmm.
And then there's a difference between something that's a science and something that
Hmm.
is speculative.
Hmm.
But speculation is still a part of invention. You have to speculate.
Right.
So even if you know, like there's a particular disease, a person is sick, they have to eat right.
Right.
They should avoid excessive oils, sugar, and excessive salt in the diet, right? That's number one. So even if you don't know the cure for that disease, you know something. That's speculation. But through speculation, you can find out an actual remedy for that particular situation. So in
Hmm.
indigenous cultures, that's all preserved. You have speculation, and then you have science.
Hmm.
You have methodology, and you have accountability. So, they didn't teach us the scientific method either.
Hmm. So now I have a question. Can you explain to us? One of the questions I sent you is, can you explain to us exactly what is black magic? Because I don't think we really
Uh,
understand what that is.
okay, black magic is just evil intent.
Mhm. So
It's
it's
malicious intent.
so when you
Malicious intent.
mhm.
So,
Okay, y'all. As soon as he come back on here, y'all know he's in Ghana. Okay, y'all know how the internet is in Africa. So as soon as he come back, I'll put him back on here. Okay, so what he's saying, what I'm thinking, this is so interesting because look, these people in Africa are not even taking care of their shrines. Do y'all know what a curse that is? Here he come, y'all. You're not even taking care of the shrines because you want to be something other than what you are. That's crazy. Okay, go ahead. Now, what were you saying?
I'm back.
Okay, go
I
ahead.
said, okay, so first, black magic is malicious intent.
Okay. So,
Now, in indigenous culture,
mhm,
it's a criminal offense. You can be prosecuted for it. And then at the same time, that's on a traditional level. You can be prosecuted, meaning people can accuse you, charge you, and say what you did is wrong, and then you have to make recompense for it. It's criminal intent. There's a particular fish. It's a puffer fish. You had a situation where there was a dispute over land between two brothers in a neighboring town. So what the brother did, one of the brothers, what he did, because it was a land dispute, right? Ancestral land. He took the scale of the pufferfish and put it in the his brother's container of water where he was farming.
Mhm.
So the brother, when he tasted the water, he knew that it was something wrong, but he had already given the water to two of his children. So he wound up dying as a result.
Mhm.
So now it's the pufferfish. Pufferfish, it exists in nature, right? It exists in nature,
Right.
and it's very toxic.
Mhm.
And even if you contaminated a natural water source with it, then what will happen is, the person will get sick. Now that's criminal. But how is that different from black magic?
No, because they're
It's
both
not.
right.
Evil intent.
Mhm.
You use something, a material, to cause harm. Now there are cases where, like in war, for example, you know, in war, it is what it is.
Right.
You have an enemy, and you have to use any means to subdue or eradicate or eliminate or defeat or control or regulate or integrate your enemy.
Mhm.
Any means. So now that would never be seen as being black magic.
Right.
Why? Because of the intent.
Mhm.
The intent is based on the need for preservation. But even with that, when you have a society and you have good character, that's why we have compromise. We come to an agreement. You don't like
Mhm.
me. I don't like you. This is what you did. This is what I did. Somebody else comes in and arbitrates and says, yeah, but we both have to live here. We can't kill each other because then nobody will live. But we have a right to be fair,
Mhm.
because when you are when, it's like the principle of justice is really deep, because justice, if the process of compromise causes you to be victimized, it's an injustice, and you have
Right.
a right to seek recompense for that. So now, being as though that we're African Americans, in the US, we're constantly at war with a
Mhm.
system that won't compromise based on fairness, but will always make sure that um, there is a strata within the society that always gets a bonus benefit.
Mhm.
And that will put you back in the state of injustice.
Well, isn't that a sense, in a sense, black magic? Because that intent is not good. That's a
Oh,
bad
that is
intent.
no, but you're fighting to get recompense. It's
Mhm.
not black magic.
Right.
But
But
the
what they're
other
doing.
person to try to manipulate, to try to willfully cause harm to you on any level, whether it's with a piece of paper and a pen, whether it's with a gun, whether it's with some stones and some herbs, whether it's with a bow and arrow. It's If it's malicious and it's just to purely cause harm and it's unjustified, it is black magic.
Okay, I got a question. Someone says, "Oh, evil intent doesn't have to deal with mumbo jumbo." So they want to
No.
understand what is this mumbo jumbo that we see them doing? What is that all
Oh,
about?
okay. So people get caught up in the ritual.
Mhm.
Their fear is with something that they can't understand, the language or the way in which the process in which something works.
Mhm.
And so that's where the mumbo jumbo is. But the mumbo jumbo is not important. What's because even when someone at your job hates you, you know how they talk about you. They're using mumbo jumbo. They're casting a spell on you. They're going to use any opportunity that can to destroy you. So then when you see a priest and he's using some incantations and burning an incense, telling you his intent, he doesn't really care in terms of how um, the details for justice. He just wants justice. The universe is going to make sure that justice is going to come.
Yeah. Mhm.
But
That's true.
but he will talk bad about you. So like, somebody in the back room saying, "Did you see them shoes she had on? Who she thinks she is? She always coming in here wearing da 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 da," and then she always talking about what she did and where she went this weekend. And then I worked in a teachers. I was an educator for over 30 years, so I know how. Oh man, people would just talk so bad about people. They just couldn't wait to just talk about somebody.
Again.
And I'll be like, y'all casting spells in here.
Yeah.
Y'all don't see y'all casting spells? And then if they could find anything that was out, oh, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do this. Oh yeah, we and then if something happened and they were confronted, then they felt like they had a reason to now find a mechanism to try to get you terminated from your position. And that's Western witchcraft.
Oh. Also, in the West, we practice witchcraft. We just do it a different way.
So we do it a different way, but it's the only difference is for real. The only difference is the language. Because when someone goes through the mental process of pushing themselves to exert a force on you,
Mhm.
eventually they will do it physically.
Mhm. Now, what do you
So
mean the
you can
mental
watch the
process?
movies. What? Oh, the ritual. A ritual.
Mhm.
A ritual is a psychological mechanism that you use so that you prepare the spirit and the body to confront or to create conflict.
Mm. Okay. And you said then they'll
And
eventually use.
so eventually that ritual will manifest into a physical confrontation.
Mhm.
And the hope is that the physical confrontation resolves itself. I'm listening. I'm listening. Repeat yourself.
No, it was delayed. Go ahead.
Okay. E- Okay. So when you have a ritual or you have this like psychological process,
Mhm.
but that psychological process eventually forces you mentally as well as physically to engage in a conflict, a physical conflict. And that physical conflict is where there will be a resolution
Mhm.
to a particular problem.
Mhm. No, we didn't hear the last part. Say that again.
Okay. The mental component creates the space for a physical confrontation to resolve
Okay.
conflict.
Okay. Okay. So, in essence, then everybody can do black magic.
So
If we are understanding.
when someone is using juju or witchcraft or sorcery against you, everybody but it depends on if it's justified or not. Are they defending themselves,
Mm-hmm.
or are they trying to cause harm?
Oh, okay. So that makes a difference. So if you're
You said
defending,
what?
so if you're defending yourself and you use black magic to defend yourself, then
It's
that's
not. It's
okay.
not black magic. It's
Oh,
not
it's not.
black magic.
What's that
It's
called?
not black magic.
Mm-hmm.
It's just aggression. It's just aggression.
Okay. Oh, that's interesting. So then everybody can say that that's just aggression. They can say that it's not black magic. I'm just upset with that person, and I'm defending myself against that person.
Yeah, I'm defending myself.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah, okay, no problem. Then you have nothing to worry about. Then,
Mm-hmm.
if that's the case, you have nothing to fear. You have nothing to worry about. You stand up for yourself. You keep following your path, your vision, and that's it.
Mm-hmm.
But somebody's got to be the victim.
Right.
So when there is an injustice, that's the key. When there's an injustice, the character is really critical, because when there is an injustice, the one that cries that they're the victim is really the one who practices black magic.
The one who cries that they're the victim is the one that practices black magic. What? Explain that to us.
Yes,
Okay,
because
explain
the
that.
principle of justice, the universe doesn't reward evil.
Right. It doesn't. Right. Okay.
So what happens is, instead of making reconciliation, you see the person that's still stuck in that mode of behavior where their character is very poor. They're just going to flip it and become the victim and say, "Woe is me."
Oh yeah, they will. You're right. Yeah, and they started the whole thing, but in the end, they're going to be the victim. Oh, that's
Yes,
the person practicing black magic. Yeah, they are because they're trying to make
yes,
you believe something that is not true.
that's right.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Oh, oh, okay. So a lot of
And
people.
then,
Go ahead.
yeah, and then that's where they would get the accusation. "Oh, you a witch. You just a witch. You
Hmm.
just evil." That's all it is. And everybody would know it. Everybody in their family, all their friends, their associates. Over time, they would just know that that person is just, they have a poor character.
So they tell that by your the way you behave, the way you handle situations, the way you interact with people, the way you behave will reveal your character to people. Once they realize you have a bad character, they're not going to deal with
That's
you.
right. And also, when that's right. And once you're in a conflict that is reasonable, that you can come to an agreement
Hmm.
or a compromise, and you're unwilling to do that, then it means that the person has another motive, and their motive is to oppress or to manipulate. So then
Hmm.
that's an example of somebody that's a witch or a sorcerer.
Hmm. And that's if they okay. So you having an issue with
Now, they
somebody.
might not get caught that time, they got away.
Hmm.
But eventually, when they come out and the universe returns that favor and they play the role of the victim, then everybody knows, "Oh, there you go. Show your color."
Because they know that you're the one who really created this, and now you're the victim of all of this.
Yes.
Oh wow! Because a lot of people do that. Unfortunately, a lot of people do that. So a
And you
lot of
can't resolve it where there's a compromise where both parties can find an amicable resolution that they both can agree to.
Mhm. Okay.
Yes.
So after Issa says, Kiki, look at what
Yeah.
is sitting behind you. What is sitting behind me? This.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, The other side to that, there's the what we call like the occultism, you know, like what we call the occult. And
Yeah.
people don't understand that what we call the occult is really, yeah, yeah, a calendar. It's a calendar.
Okay.
It's the progression of the zodiac,
Okay. Because Doctor
which is
E
a
said.
calendar. So a calendar is sitting behind you.
Mm-hmm.
Now, this symbol is really fascinating because this is what people use and say is black magic.
This.
Like this is the evidence of black magic. When they see a person and they see
This.
like zodiac signs, they
Are you
see
serious?
incense, they see candles, they say, "Oh,
What?
that's black magic." It's not. It's a calendar.
Okay. So these type of things, incense, candles.
The zodiac behind you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
And people
that's
would
a
say that.
calendar.
Oh, so people would say those are
Yeah, it's
signs
a
that she
calendar.
practices black magic. Oh wow, that's why people Africans have came on here and said she's a witch. That you're a witch, Kiki. That's why they come on here and say that. They see little things like that
We
and they
use it.
think,
We use it. We use it. We use it. Traditional culture uses it. They use astronomy. They use astrology
yeah, yeah, they do. Yeah, they do. So let's see. I think we have another
of
question right
black
here.
magic. Yeah, 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 yeah. No, it's just a calendar.
If a person can prove they have had something done against them, can charges be filed? So if you can prove that somebody did something to try to hurt you with black magic, can you file charges against that person?
Yes. Now,
Did you hear me? Oh yeah, I might be a delay. I don't know if he can hear me. Can you hear me? Did you hear me?
wait.
Did you hear the question?
In Ghana, you can. In Ghana, you can go to a police station and file a report.
Hmm.
Traditional priests have to function under a license. There's a ethics or a code of conduct. Traditional priests usually come under traditional hierarchy. Your landowners. So, yeah, I can hear you.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Mhm.
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay.
Yes, I heard the question.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yes. It's a delay. Okay, y'all. It's a delay. Go ahead and finish telling us what you were saying about. You were saying something about the occult. You want to finish telling us about that, or you were saying also something about how you could be arrested
Okay.
in Ghana for
Can you
trying
hear
to.
me now?
Hmm. Yes, we can hear you very well. It's just a delay.
Okay. I, I, yeah, in Ghana you can be. Yeah, 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 yeah. If if a priest was to exhibit some kind of real, I mean, just malicious conduct, really inappropriate. Um, the individual can file a charge against the priest, and he can be arrested.
Oh.
And once arrested, he'll have to appear in court, and then they'll have to they'll have to explain the charge to him, and then at the same time, if the evidence is there, he can be convicted of it.
Oh.
So, it's not like you have a priest, but then you have chieftaincy too. So the chieftaincy is over the priesthood.
Mm-hmm.
The whole thing about priests, or the priests are trying to preserve indigenous culture. They're not
Right.
there to create harm to people. They're just
Okay.
trying to preserve a practice that reminds people of a particular series of ethnic groups, their history, and their oral tradition.
Right. Okay. Now let's see. I think we got another question on here. Oh, can you tell us where you live again in Ghana? What city? Where
No,
do you live at in Ghana?
I live in a village of Charmbo in the Bono region. I lived in Takoradi before,
Oh,
and
okay.
then I purchased land here.
Hmm.
This is the place where I have my farm and my house.
Okay. Oh, and you said you knew you had relatives there. That's what led you there to Ghana, to that region, correct?
From the name, yes, from the name. Adama Sechidi was my great great grandmother. That
Mm-hmm.
was her name. So that
Okay.
meant I needed to come to Ghana
Mm-hmm.
because that's the only place you can find a female that's name is Adama Sechidi. So
Mm-hmm.
then I found out the history of the Sechidi family, the Sechidi clan, and then the particular ethnic group that gave rise to the Sechidi clan, and that's called the Gunja. So I moved to Gunja land, and then I purchased a farm and a plot to build a house on.
Okay. Now, another question that I had is where I wanted to know exactly where did black magic begin? Like where did it start? Where did it come from? Is it in
It,
every spirituality, or is
it's
it
human
just
nature.
in certain?
It's
Okay.
No, it's just the evil within human nature.
Hmm.
It doesn't have any methodology. It doesn't have a science to it. It's the character of the individual. If the individual is if the individual is not working on themselves, if they're not focused on constant, you know, development. You came into this world with challenges. I don't care who you are
Right.
and how much money you have. You came in this world to learn a lesson. And if you refuse to learn your lessons, then you have no other choice but to go further and further and further to the darker side.
Hmm.
And that becomes the purpose that drives you, just to spoil or to make other individuals' lives difficult.
Oh wow! Oh my God! And I've seen people on
Because you're
YouTube
not
who are
trying to learn your lesson. You're not trying to learn your lesson. So you trying to help other people learn their lesson. They're going to learn their lesson by meeting you. You're going to give them their greatest challenge. They're going to overcome it. And then the next thing you know, you wondering why your kidneys is failing.
Mhm.
It's
Oh
like that. The universe does not reward evil. Now, I'm not saying I'm not saying we don't make mistakes. I'm not saying we don't make mistakes. We make mistakes. But what is our intent? Our intent isn't to cause harm. 2 days ago, a mother She left her husband because she had another boyfriend. You know, so she had two children. She went to court and she was like, "I'm going to just divorce my husband, and the kids. I want to try to get support for them and me." And so the court said, "Okay, well, let's bring in the family from the father's side." And they talked and he said, "Okay, so there was a wedding, right? There was marriage, right? So who paid for the wedding and the marriage? Oh, the husband. Okay. Now this is barring abuse. He wasn't beating her. You know what I mean? He's doing the best that he can. But it is what it is. You only brought 6 yams home. I needed you to bring 20. I need a man that can bring me 20 yams and like 12 bunches of bananas. You just can't cut it. I need another dude to do that. I got you. No problem, babe. It is what it is. It's gonna happen. But the children, the court said you got to give them back to the other side of the family if they can provide for them, and then you find your way. Because he did everything he was supposed to do to marry. His success does not does not mean that you can separate him from the children.
Mm-hmm.
So she agreed with the court, of course, because she has no other alternative, right? So on the day that she's supposed to drop the children off, she let the children run in the street. The children are screaming and crying in the middle of the road. 2-year-old boy and a 4-year-old boy. And so I picked them up and put them in my little van. And I know the family, so they're all with me, and they're like, this is how the world works, man. I said, man, in the US, it's the same thing. It ain't no different. The character, and it's not one sided. You have examples of that character on both sides,
Mm-hmm.
and it is what it is. So if anybody is talking about black magic and the way people deal with each other within their family units, how they deal with their children, how they deal in their relationships, I don't want to hear that. That you the most, and not you. I'm just saying, like, when I mean you, I'm projecting it to the person it belongs to. You're the most evil person on this planet. I
Mm-hmm.
don't care. I'm glad you don't have $1 billion because it would be a million people that would die at your hand.
Wow. And it's
I'm
really people.
glad because that's just how your heart is. I'm
Mm-hmm.
just like, oh man. Okay.
Wow.
Here's another question that's very interesting, right? How would you know if someone has done work against you? Well, let's be very clear. Work is always being done against you.
What?
The person that sees you across the street, when you go to the store, haven't you had that old white lady just take her basket and just jump in front of you, knowing that you were in front of her? She's
Yeah.
not that much older than you, but for some
Mm-hmm.
reason, she just feels she's entitled to then push you out of the way. No, the thing is, it's like it's always being done. Now, if it's something very specific, you'll have a dream, and usually this is something for everybody. When you have a dream that someone you don't know has given you something to eat,
Mm-hmm.
when you have a dream that someone you don't know has given you something to eat and you eat it in the dream, that means someone has done work against you.
Because somebody asked us about that. I can't remember what they said, but they asked about that. They said somebody was eating in the dream, and what exactly did that mean? And I wasn't sure what that meant, but I knew
That
it meant something.
that's work. That's work. That's work. That means somebody is doing rituals on your behalf.
Now, can those rituals work? Will those rituals
Well, I
work?
mean, it all of it can work. I mean, but like if I pressed up against you, don't you feel me?
Yeah, right.
So the thing is, it's like we live in a universe where everybody is in touch with everybody.
Mm-hmm.
However, there's always a consequence for every action. There's a consequence. So
Mm-hmm.
when someone touches you, you also are in touch with them. The problem comes because people ignore it.
Mm-hmm.
People ignore it. And when they ignore it, then it becomes something very egregious.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It's like, okay, you gave me the first shot. Now, I believed you. Now I got my fourth booster.
Mm-hmm.
Then it comes out, everybody that got their fourth booster is going blind. Well,
Mm-hmm.
you didn't have no trepidation on getting the first one. You didn't try to remedy it at that point. Chelation therapy, colloidal silver, colloidal gold. You wasn't doing none of that. Selenium, zinc. You weren't doing none of that. So then, okay, things accumulate over a time. But ultimately, stay on your purpose. The most important thing is stay on your purpose. But a lot of us we don't have a purpose, and
Mm-hmm.
that is not that's not how do I say, you're not culpable for that because you come to this place to learn and to experience, and what you pray for is guidance.
Mm-hmm.
And when that guide comes, in whatever form that guide is, you should follow it. It may not be there to lead you to the end of your destiny, but it may be to assist you at a point where you're going to go through a learning trial, and you'll remember that, and you'll be a greater person because of that. Life is about lessons.
Yes, that's so very true. That is so so very true. So, places and spaces says. So, are you with your ancestral family? She says.
Yeah,
So you are
like
with your.
you. Yeah, check this out. You see this right here, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
this little mole I got on the side of my face. I'm literally living in a house where everybody got one in the same spot.
Wow, that's
So I
nice.
get it. You know, you do whatever you guys do. If you doing the ancestry, me and whatever, all the blood tests you want. If a white person can tell you what, oh no problem. But me, I never did it that way. I always followed my dreams. I always believed that the Creator and my ancestors and those that I love that have transcended, that they would continue to bless me and guide me. And even though they may have passed on, I still see them in my dreams. And they would tell me, I listen, and that's it. I ain't got nothing else to prove to nobody else. My grandmother is happy with me. My grandfather is happy with me.
Right.
So I
That's
don't
good. Now
care
that
who hates me.
right. Now they want you to go back to the question. I movement wants you to go back to Empath of London's question, and they want to know some examples of how do you know for sure? How do you know that somebody's doing work on you? How do you know that?
That's
Other
why I
than
said the dream where you eat, the dream where you eat in the dream, you're going to have it. You're going to
oh, you
have a
will have it.
dream where you are eating. You will have it. And now what you want to see is you want to see another person presenting the food to you.
Presenting the food to you. Okay. So if you dream that somebody's presenting the food to you and you're eating the food,
Yes, that means
oh
somebody
yeah,
is. Yes, that
somebody's
means
feeding you
they're
something.
working on
Yeah,
you. Pre-
it's the
presenting
symbolism.
food is not it. It's the eating of food. It's not the presenting of food. The presentation of food is not bad. It's the actual eating it that is bad.
Yeah, because that means they're doing. Because you're, yeah, that's the sign that they're doing something to you. Because you're eating
Th-
something.
that that's the sign that they've done something.
Oh, that they've already done it.
Yes.
Okay. Are there any more
Now they can
signs?
do it again. No, that's the main one. That's the only one you need. Because if you
Oh,
make a
really?
hundred signs, that one's gonna come to you in the week. You're gonna have that dream next week.
As soon as they start, you'll
You're
have
gonna
that
have
dream.
that dream in three. You're gonna have that dream in 3 days. It's such a common dream of when someone is doing work against you. It's like the number one.
Mhm.
Now this is before you feel it. This is before you people will talk about like you bite your tongue. People will talk about a weird smell, or
Mhm.
people will talk about a ringing in the ear. All that is inconsequential. What really is the significator is the eating of food that's presented to you in your dream.
I don't think I ever dreamed of somebody presenting me food. I don't think I've ever had that dream. Have any of y'all ever had a dream like that? If y'all on here and y'all had a dream like that, please let us know. Okay, so we talked about that one. And so are you we talked about that one. That okay, and we talked about that one. Let's see.
Somebody said I haven't answered the question about what.
Yeah. Empath, we just went back to that one. Empath of London,
Oh, okay, okay, okay.
the one about how do you know people are doing work on you? I don't
Hmm.
see my ancestors, but I can feel them around me. Okay, tell us about that. Why don't we don't see them,
Um,
we don't know them, but we know their presence. We know they're with us, and they're around us. Tell us
I
about
mean,
that.
well, I mean, it takes practice to be able to develop that. When I was
Are
about
you born with that
19,
skill?
what'd you say?
Are you born with that skill, or is it
I mean,
something that
in
you
my
can
case,
develop over time?
it's for it's something you develop. It's something you can develop. It's a technique you can develop.
Mhm.
It's like you'll take a candle. It's like a meditation technique where you take a candle, you take a bowl of water and then some Florida water, and then you just reflect in the bowl for about like 5 minutes before you go to sleep. And you
Mhm.
do that over a period of about like a couple weeks. And if you incorporate it as part of your like daily routine, you'll get very good at actually identifying your ancestors in dreams.
Oh wow! All right.
And it was a Cameroonian woman that taught me that. It was a Cameroonian when I was 19. She
Mhm.
came in the health food store and said she needed something for energy. And I was going to sell her some vitamins. And she was like, no, I don't need that. I need that calabash up there. Calabash. And then give me that Florida water. And give me that small little candle. And I was like, huh? How you going to use that for energy? She said, look, I'm not from here. I've been here for 6 years. I got 3 jobs. I don't have time to sleep. This is what keeps me up. I said, what? A candle, Florida water, and a calabash? No, 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 no. Look, I'm locking the door. And you ain't getting out. You know, you got to tell me what
Right.
what you do. And she said, oh, she said, at this, she's an older lady, So she said, baby, all you got to do is just before you go to bed, try this. You just put a calabash on the floor, and then take some water, or if you don't have a calabash or bowl, take some fresh water, pure water. It could be river water, it could be spring water, but pure water, not tap water. And then you take some Florida water, just a couple drops in it, and then you light a candle and you just look into it. You don't, you're not, you can ask God for anything that you want. You can do whatever you want. But all you need to do is just keep staring into that water. If it's something that you need to know, God gonna tell you.
Mhm.
If it's something specific that you need to know, the universe is gonna tell you.
Mhm. Okay. Now I have another question. A lot of people are now using tarot cards. Do you know anything about those?
Yeah.
So can you tell us about those? They say those are witchcraft also. Are those
Yeah,
witchcraft?
but no, it's based on the calendar system. It's based on the calendar system. 52 cards, a week for every day of the year. I mean, 52 weeks in a year. It's a
Okay.
calendar. Every astrological signature has an effect on the personality. It has an effect on a place, and it has effect on the movement of time. So, people
Mhm.
that are really good, they can use it as an oracle to actually try to interpret the meaning of events around them.
Mhm. Yeah. So that's what they're for, to interpret the events around you.
Yes, but they're based off of the calendar.
Mhm.
So, I mean, it's a day, it's a Wednesday, or it's a Thursday. How is that black magic?
Mhm.
That,
Okay.
but this is how we were taught, um, so that we would cling to the ideology of the West.
Oh, you're
And the
right.
one thing that the West did was it robbed us of our own calendar system.
Mhm.
I mean, come on, man. Ain't nobody tried to take 12 months and give them African names. All y'all PhDs in African studies, how come you didn't rename the calendar based on African characters? Why don't we all use an African, even if we're African American, why didn't somebody come up with the concept, let's rename the months of the year?
Mhm. So what is the significance of the calendar? I guess we don't understand the significance of the calendar. To us, this just tells us the day of the week, the date, the
No, it's an
year.
energy.
So the
Monday.
calendar is
Monday
energy.
Monday is what? Monday is what?
I don't know. Monday.
The moon's day. The
Oh,
moon's day.
that's what it stands for. Oh, it makes sense.
Yeah.
Monday, MON, Moon Day. Oh my goodness, you're right. So
Saturday.
what is so wait a minute. Moon
Saturday.
Day is the day you. So that's why we're all tired on Mondays. We just want to relax
No,
because
no,
it's the Moon
no.
Day.
It's not. That's not necessary. That's not necessarily it. But the
Hmm.
thing about starting the day on a Monday. Monday is the moon is about influence. It rules
Oh,
people. It rules people. So if I want you to work for me, and I'm your landlord, guess what day is your first day of work?
Monday.
Yes, because I'm ruling you. On the moon rules people, the personality, the populace, whatever the majority of people think, that's
Hmm.
what the moon influences.
Hmm.
So your first day of the week, when you got to clock in order for you to get this money so that you can eat in order to survive, your stomach, you got to eat. So you got to wake up on Monday and start that first day.
Right.
But then Saturday is Saturn's day. Sunday is the sun's day.
Okay, wait a
No,
minute.
this
What
is
is tell us about Saturn's Day. What does Saturn's Day mean?
Saturday, Saturn, the planet
Right?
Saturn.
Mm-hmm. But what is the symbol?
You
What is it?
know,
What's the part? What does it mean? We know it's a
oh,
planet, but that
Saturn,
don't mean nothing to us.
death, transformation, rest.
Okay.
Sabbath, the day when nobody's supposed to work.
Mm-hmm. Oh, okay. So I'm trying to understand the significance of this calendar then. So basically, the calendar just basically casts spells also because they do certain
Of course.
things. I remember this one Babalao, I was studying him, and he would do his magic, whatever rituals he was going to do, he would do them on a Thursday. What is the significance
Yeah.
of Thursday?
Well, it depends on the actual divinity that he might have had that he worshipped, right? So
Oh, so
like
the I get it. Okay, go ahead. Keep
there,
going.
but generally, like Thursday is ruled by the planet Jupiter, right? So
Hmm.
Jupiter deals with opulence. It deals with the patriarchy. Um, it deals with the judicial system. People in positions of authority. You know, your higher intellectual institutions, judgment. And even travel over water. That's all ruled by the planet Jupiter.
Hmm.
So, if there's a divinity that's associated with a Thursday, what he's looking for is opulence. He's looking for prosperity. So he's
Yeah.
always going to work with Thursday.
Hmm. Oh wow. So that's what this calendar, and then I know numbers have meanings also.
Yes.
So you choose the day, you choose like the date. All of that means something.
Yes.
All of that is important to what. Oh, this is unbelievable. This is not so people can be just
And then you
practicing
have
this stuff and we don't even know it.
but this ain't black magic. This is what the
What
society
is this?
institute. The whole society, every society is run off of this. This is a calendar.
Yeah, they are. Everyone is run off of this. So everybody's
It's
practicing this
so
magic.
black magic is intent, evil intent.
Right. Exactly. So what is
N-
this then?
Science
Oh.
is how the universe works. It's just the time. It's just like watching a clock.
Universal
And if I
law.
asked you what time is it, and you said it's uh it's 1 o'clock where you are, me, I'd
Right.
be like, if I don't have a watch, I'd be like, that's magical. How did you do that? How did you know
Right.
what
How did
time
you
it
know that?
is?
Oh, I see. Okay.
Because I got a
That,
clock?
mhm. That's really, 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 really interesting. Really interesting. I want to know more
Oh,
about
man. Oh, even farming. Farming is dope because it's like, at this point,
that.
we're at the Hamatan season, right?
Yeah.
So during the Hamatan season, when the moon is at its brightest, it's lower in the sky.
Mhm.
And when it's lower in the sky, it's dark at night. Even though, you can see stars, you can see the moon, you can't see your hand in front of your face.
Mhm.
So it took this hunter to tell me, he said, this is how you can tell if it's rainy season or if it's dry season. When you see the moon vaulted very high up and you see the stars, you'll see that every place around you is illuminated where you can literally walk in the dark
Mhm.
and not trip over your own feet. And I was like, wow. Then, showed me Orion's belt and how all the hunters all throughout West Africa, they follow the Orion's belt. They look for the Polaris, the North Star, right? And then they
Mhm.
look for Saturn and Jupiter. Jupiter, they look between the hours of 7 and 11 o'clock. And then from 11 o'clock to, the dawn, they're looking for Saturn. And they
Mhm.
always appear as the brightest stars next to the right and left of Orion. And when they
Okay.
follow the North Star, they find an animal that's sick and they kill it and they bring the meat home so that their children can have something to eat.
Oh. Okay.
And you only hunt at night. You don't hunt during the day. You hunt at night.
Mhm.
The only way you can hunt during the day is if you build a trap. But if you just want to catch an animal and kill it in the
Mhm.
wild, you have to use the stars.
Oh.
And
You
they do it
can't.
every day. They do it every day. Okay, maybe they don't do it every day, but every 3 days, you know, it's amazing. It's just it is what it is. So when people talk about black magic, it's like you have to be very clear that science, how to live in a natural world, it's
Mhm.
not black magic.
No, it's
What is
not.
black magic is the evil intent.
Okay. Right. Now we got that. Okay. Now, Empath of London has another question for you. She says, "What does it mean when you fight in your dreams?"
You got a decision to make.
You have a
When you
decision to
fight in
make.
your dreams, you have a decision. You have to weigh two options.
Okay. All right, Empath of London. That means you have two options and you got to make a decision. Okay. Now, Tracy says, "D Tracy, my cousin says I haven't had that dream in a while, but I do have nightmares for years." Now, what does that mean when you've been having nightmares for years?
Usually nightmares is like unresolved trauma.
Mm-hmm.
And that trauma could be like a physical event that caused physical harm,
Mm-hmm.
emotional harm, or it could have been like uh, uh, um, a very like desperate period that the
Mm-hmm.
person went through and they haven't resolved the emotional issues that were associated with that period. So
Yeah.
that's going to come through reflection and looking at all the issues that you really can say like that was really deep. And you got to look at it really carefully when you examine yourself and say, well, what do I need to do to get over this? And then you'll get over the nightmares.
Mm-hmm.
Now the problem is when someone is like they're under the care of someone else, and that person that's supposed to be responsible for them, their food, clothing, and shelter, their care, whatever, um, they were either neglectful or abusive. Then
Mm-hmm.
it projects in the nightmare of like an infernal, demonic, monstrous thing that you just can't overcome because you were at a very vulnerable period in your life. And at that vulnerable period in your life, the one that's responsible to be your protector was actually uh, um, not fulfilling their requirement. So you have to resolve that. And at the same time, when we have children and we take responsibility for others, that's when we really heal from those traumas from the individuals that were neglectful to us.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
Does that
thank you.
make sense?
Tell us if that makes sense, Alva. Okay, put it in the comment section if you want to have another question. Okay. Places and Spaces said that she dreamt being chased by a lion, but she said that was when she was cheating on her husband. Cheating with, I'm sorry, she said I was cheating with my hubby. So I don't know. I guess he wasn't her
I
husband
was
then.
with my cheating hubby.
Yeah. What does that mean?
No, in other words, the lion was chasing her,
Hmm. Oh, the
and she
husband
was
was the
with
cheater. Okay.
her husband who was cheating. Yeah, 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 yeah. I mean, it just
Oh,
means
okay.
that
What does
somebody else
that
was
mean?
interested in you too. That just meant that you could have got it too.
Oh, so she could have got somebody else too. She just wasn't paying attention.
Yeah, yeah. There was somebody looking at you just like your husband was looking at somebody else.
Oh,
But
boy,
the
it was
lion
crazy.
wasn't your husband.
Well, who was the lion? Oh, the lion was somebody else. She said after I left him. Oh, listen. She said after I left him, I never had that dream again. And the lion was always chasing me in my granny's house, who has been gone a long time. So she said even after she
Okay.
left him, she continued to dream of this lion chasing her in her granny's house. What does that mean, you
Yeah.
think?
Well, I mean, the lion is an archetype. Is talking about a male figure that was really attracted to her and was pursuing her, and it's somebody
Oh.
that may have been she may have known before her husband, and that's why she would see it in the granny's house.
Oh.
So,
Okay.
for her, just reflect on all your previous relationships.
Mhm.
All the archetypes of maleness that you've been with, all their characteristics, the good, the bad, you know, and and then, you know, it'll start to come to you in revelation as to that lion is not it's not an enemy. It's a part of you that wants to help you to get to a place where you want to be regarding your relationships.
Oh, wow. All right, I have one. I got a question I want to ask about a dream. This was very interesting. I was in Nigeria and I dreamt I was in this big, beautiful house,
Hmm.
okay? And I was sitting at the table with a whole bunch of ladies. These ladies were it was about 20 of us, okay? They were all dark skinned ladies and they were all older than me. Their skin was like this beautiful, beautiful black color. We all were sitting there. Then we all got up. We didn't eat anything. We all got up and we left. Okay. The ladies marched. They all marched out in a line in front of me. But there was one lady who was in charge. There was one lady who was in charge of all the other ladies, and she stood in front of them. They all walked out in front of me, and I went out last. Now, this is the part that's funny, and I didn't get it. She held up a bag, okay? It was a white bag, and she was looking right at me. The white bag, and nobody knew I did this, okay? This is what was crazy. This was something that I did in the secret of my room. Like, I like chocolate donuts, okay? But I
Mm.
eat if I get them, I'll eat too many of them. Okay, so my little treat game I play with myself is you take one bite of the chocolate donut and put it back in the bag. Okay, but then 5 minutes later, I would take it out and bite it again and put it back in the bag. But nobody knew I did that. Okay, she held up the bag with the chocolate donuts in it. Okay, and then she pulled out the chocolate donut with the one bite in it that I always do. And she put it back in the bag and she started laughing. We both started laughing, like really, really loud. And then all the ladies got in the car and they left. Now tell me, what was that all about?
Hmm. Oh, well, um, you know, your Lord sets a table before you, right? So the table represents abundance, prosperity, and
Mm-hmm.
so the bag, that's literally telling you your source of abundance, where it comes from. That's why she's laughing, because you
Mm-hmm.
thought it was you. You thought it was you that was telling you to do that. And then
Mhm.
she came and showed you the thought to do it in the dream that she. So that's your maternal ancestry. That's your maternal ancestors. You know, they eat with you, they enjoy with you, they don't want you to suffer,
Yeah.
but they also are there to elevate you and make sure that you have
Mhm.
abundance. So, you should honor them, and the best
Yes.
way to do it is just through the calabash and water and the Florida water and try and
Mhm.
look for 5 minutes. If you need a message, you'll get one. It's really dope. It's really dope. And I've been doing it
Yeah.
for, oh man, almost 30 years. I don't have to do it anymore. I can look in my hand and do it. I can. I don't need to use the the Florida water or anything like that anymore.
Mhm. And you said do it for 5 minutes every day.
Yeah,
How
at
long?
night before you go to sleep, you light a candle.
Okay, and then just stare at the water.
Just stare into the water. And the thing is, it's like, so, when you're staring, all you want is for your attention to wander off, and you finish.
Right. Right.
Now, there are people that want to meditate for like 2 hours, 4 hours, 5 hours, and stuff like that, right? But
Mhm.
African-based tradition wants you to be able to get into that meditative state as quickly as possible, within 5 seconds. You should be able
Mhm.
to enter into that deep, deep, deep meditative state. But it takes conditioning to do that.
Mhm.
And that was a technique that I got from a Cameroonian woman. I didn't get it from somebody from India or Vietnam that saw this little black boy. He needed
Mhm.
he needed a father figure, so I'm gonna teach him martial arts and how to meditate.
Okay, I have another question.
Uh, yes.
Proverb says that I dreamt I cooked food and I ate a piece. Now, what does that mean?
Okay.
What's that
Well, the eating of the dream is always interpreted as being negative.
about?
The preparation of food has to deal with money. So then, when the person has a dream about cooking food and then eating it, look for a loss of money,
Oh, wow.
whether it's unexpected expenses. It's just going to be something unfortunate because the eating of food in a dream is never interpreted as being good.
Okay, yeah, I remember that. Eating food in a dream is never interpreted as good. Never. Okay. Oh, wow, that was interesting. Okay, you told us all that. Okay, somebody wants to know Tuesday. What does Tuesday stand for?
Tyr, the Nordic god Tyr, the Mars.
Mars.
Tyr, he tried to save the universe by killing
Mm-hmm.
this. It's like the story of Apep. The story of Apep and Ra. Apep like tries to devour the sun, and so in order to save the sun, Ra puts the sun on a boat and then carries it across the universe, right? And Apep tries to swallow the sun. If he swallows the sun, he swallows the whole universe, right? So Tyr, which is a Nordic god of war, it's like the same story, but it's this big wolf. It's the big dog, huge dog. He tries to save the universe, and he gets his what he tries to do is he tries to chain the dog, right, to imprison it, and in doing so, he gets his arm eaten off. So
Mm-hmm.
it's the sacrifice he had to make to save others. So it's associated with the planet Mars. And Mars has to deal with sacrifice. Also has to deal with death, um, um, rebirth, mystery, justice.
Mm-hmm.
and that's Tears Day or Tuesday.
Oh, Tears Day, Tuesday. Wow, that's really. I wonder why they don't teach us that. That's really interesting. D Tracy says, "I love this dialogue," and she said it's right up her alley. Sacred science. Places has basically said it's this sacred science. Um, what are you saying, Starburst? What does it mean when I cook food? Oh, we read that one. Okay. Place. Somebody said, "Is this sacred science? Is that what this is called?" Hold on.
Sacred science?
Mhm.
I don't know. I mean, I got all this from like this is I was taught like there's some there's some books. Don't get me wrong.
Mhm.
There's so many books you can find on occultism, but that's not how I learned it. I just learned it from I was taught dream interpretation from an Ashanti farming woman in
Mhm.
2001. I
Oh.
stayed with her for about 3 months, and every night she just interpreted dreams, taught me how to interpret dreams. And then I
Yeah.
found out that, dream interpretation is a division within Islamic studies.
Mhm.
And so there is among the Judaic tra- tradition this book called the Zohar, Zohar, which is a
Mhm.
collection of dream themes, and it gives you lottery numbers. But for the for the I guess it would be like Islamic mysticism, there is a branch just dealing with dream interpretation.
Oh, that's interesting. I didn't know that. I did not know that at all. Okay, I'm trying to see if we got any more questions. Um. Okay, so Places and Spaces says she wants to make an ancestral shrine, but I don't know how to set it up. It'll be
Mm.
my dad, mom, and granny. I have their old driver's license. Wow. Okay. So she wants you to
But you
tell
know
her how
what?
much.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm gonna
Mhm.
be honest with you. Like, okay, like my grandmother, my aunts, they didn't have an ancestral shrine, but what did they have? They had a cabinet set,
Mhm.
which was in the dining room,
Mhm.
where all the glasses and all the plates, and they would only take those plates out if it was something important, or they would set the table, but nobody
Mhm.
would sit at that table. I don't know if y'all were raised like that.
Yeah, I
I
was.
was. And
Mhm.
you didn't eat in there. You didn't eat in there. You didn't eat in that
Right.
room. You didn't play in the room.
Mhm.
Christmas, you couldn't run around in that room.
Right.
That was their ancestral shrine.
Oh, I believe it.
So here, anything what represents ancestors are plates, bowls, and glasses
Mhm.
that objects that were used that they actually ate from, and those
Mhm.
items you didn't mess with. But you, because it's your ancestry, you're allowed to eat from them.
Mhm.
So you can prepare their favorite foods and set them a table.
Mhm.
And then you put those items back in a sacred place, and that's how you work with them. Now, other than that, you don't need anything to worship your ancestors but your feet, because they're in the ground. So if your feet touch the ground and you can drop water on the ground, that's your ancestral altar all the time. So you just
Mhm.
take your shoes off and stop wearing your shoes in the house and being disrespectful. and your whole
Oh,
house
so
or your whole home, your whole apartment becomes an ancestral prayer.
so then you take your shoes. That's why they take their shoes off like that. The Muslim people.
Yeah, so that you're always no, not just Muslim people, African people too. Don't wear
Oh,
shoes
so
in the
the
house.
Africans just do that.
That's like,
Oh,
yeah, Africans don't wear shoes in the house. That's not a Muslim thing because that's what connects you to your ancestors. Your ancestors were
it's
put in the
brown.
earth. So the only thing that connects you to them is your feet. Your feet is
Oh,
always walking on the shrine of your
okay.
ancestors.
So let me ask you. That's why they didn't like cremation. Like my grandmother and them was so dead set against cremation. So that's why they didn't like it because when you're buried in the
Yeah,
ground, oh my God, so you're connected to them constantly because they're in the ground and you're walking on the ground in your bare feet. Oh, it all makes sense now. So their energy is constantly coming up inside of you.
especially
And
in your
trying
house. Especially
oh
in your house. Especially in your house.
wow. Wow. That's wow. I don't even know what to say to that. So they're everywhere. They're all around us all the time.
Yeah.
Okay, she said sacred science, like from the Dagon people. Do you know anything about the Dagon people?
What is yeah.
And she said,
The okay, so when we say Dogon, right?
Dogon, I'm sorry,
The
Dogon, yeah.
Dogon are Dagaba and or they're Dagaba here, they're Dogon,
Mm-hmm.
and what they call the Moli Dagbani, the Dagban. Dagban becomes Dogon.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So those people are here.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I chill with them all the time.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of dope.
Let me see what else. Since she said Professor Smalls talks about
Uh,
this. And eye movement said his granny had those same things. Okay. Now, I think you've explained to us a lot of important things, and we've had you on here an hour and 26 minutes. And I don't want to keep you on here long because you're in Ghana and I know it's late there. But what I want to know is there any way you can come
hmm
back and talk to us again, you know, and just continue
Oh,
to
I love
teach
to.
us? Because
I love
I mean,
to.
just this little bit of time, you should see
And
my calendar. I've got so many notes.
look for my Instagram, y'all. My
It's
Instagram is Nana Kokosekye. My Instagram is Nana Kokosekye. Look me up.
mhm, okay. It's your name. Okay. So I'll put the link on the Instagram on my community page, everybody, okay? And wait a minute, we got another comment. Oh, wait a minute, we got a couple more.
Yes, that's what I'm talking about.
Uh,
Good
Mr.
job.
Uganda says, "Yeah, my parents would literally scream at me if oh, wow, wore shoes in the
Yes.
house. And it was just the opposite for me. If we did not have our shoes on, we got
Shoes
a
for the
whooping
house,
for that.
and you had shoes outside the house. We had shoes that we had to wear inside the house, and we had shoes to wear outside the
Yes,
house.
they were called
Inside the
house
house, you're supposed to have a pair of slippers.
Yes, you did not run around the house with no shoes on. That my sister used to love to do that, and she got
Yes.
so many
It's
whoopings for
there,
that.
man. We African,
Wow,
man. We so
but we naturally like
African.
to do that. We naturally like to on.
But to
We
be
leave our
African
shoes at the door.
American, we don't have to compromise or give up anything.
No, we don't. Mr. Uganda says, I thought it was really only Americans that wore
Yeah,
shoes in the house.
yeah,
Really? Wow. It's probably true. We're probably the only ones.
yeah.
But we have different shoes for the house. That's what you got to understand. We have shoes that are called house shoes that you wear in the house. So you're not supposed to wear your street shoes in the house. Glasses origin from the Holy Grail, the cup or planter used by Christ at the Last Supper. Origins are much the
These,
same. I don't get that.
hmm
Okay, explain that. So the glasses, he's saying they originate from the Holy Grail, oh, and the cup or a platter used by Jesus at the Last Supper. I don't understand that. There's some connection between glasses and the Holy Grail. Okay. So, oh, they said they would love for you to come back. I know they would. And then we're going to check out. Oh, do you have classes? Classes. Did you say you do classes? We can't hear y'all. I don't know if, oh, it looked like the signal might be gone because on my here, when I can see it in the back, there's no image. So he's probably lost. Okay, we'll wait for him to see if he comes back. Okay, places and spaces says, do you do classes?
I do classes. I do a free
Okay.
class every Sunday. I'm trying to move the
Mhm.
time to probably about 10 o'clock. Uh,
What's the time now? And how do we find out about the class? It's on Sundays. It on and how do we get the class? Is it online?
yes,
Is it a web? Okay. How do we
I
get
do a
the
free class on Sunday. If you reach out to my Instagram, I'll send you the link.
okay? Do you know what time on Sundays? Do you know what time? Okay,
Oh,
yeah, I'm looking.
through Instagram.
Okay.
Yeah, Sunday around 10 o'clock. Uh, no, it's a Zoom. It's a Zoom link that I send out 30 minutes before the class starts.
Eye movement.
You
I
said what?
cannot follow. Oh, I'm commenting on a comment. I'm replying to a comment. He
The
told me
connection
to
is a
follow.
little slow.
I know it's
The
messing up.
let me put it in the chat.
Okay.
I'll
Oh
try
yeah,
to
good.
type it in the chat.
Okay. Eye movement. Uh, you have to remember. I don't know if you're a man or a woman, but I'm doing several things at one time. Okay. So it's hard for me to follow the chat because I have to read the chat. I can't read and talk at the same time, although I'm trying. Okay. So sometimes I'm going to make mistakes because I'm doing two difficult things at one time. Talking and reading are very difficult to do at the same time. Okay. When my relatives from the village visit UK, they think everything is backwards. For example, many consider it nasty to have a toilet.
Oh
Really?
no, I'm just gonna put it there. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, no
Many
problem.
villages there have a latrine a few meters out. Ooh, isn't that something, y'all? Outhouse. We call that an outhouse. Tell them that was back in the day. Okay, so my cousin said she's going to sign up. I want to sign up. It looks like Places and Spaces want to sign up. So we just need the information. In rural UK, you still find outdoor Yep, here too. Yep, eye movement. You can find those here too. If you go down south, you'll see. We call them outhouses. All right. Yes, and it's really hard. It's really hard what I'm doing. It's very hard. Uh, I had no idea. I'm very urban. Okay. Okay. So we're gonna get this information. What does it say? Victorian London. Let me read this last one. Victorian London had another outdoor.
Yeah, I built two outhouses.
Oh, out there. Okay. All right. Okay. Thank you so much. We will be in touch with you. Well, I will be back in touch with you about the next time you'll come on, and then your information. I want to put that in. I'll put that on my community page about your classes and your Instagram because I got a couple of people who want to sign up. And I kept you on here for 2 hours. No, an hour and what? Yeah, 34 minutes. That's not too bad. Okay, that's not too bad. No, that's not too bad. Okay, because I don't like to
Uh-huh.
monopolize people's time, and especially with the
Oh,
Wi-Fi
and
situation.
thank you. I
Oh,
appreciate you. Thank you so much.
yes. No, I appreciate you. So I will be back in touch with you to see when you're going to come back, and also I'll get the information. If I can't find it, I'll WhatsApp you and see about getting that information. Okay, about the classes and the Instagram. But I'm going to look on there as soon as I get off
Oh,
of here.
good. I'm
Okay, and
glad.
then I'll share that information. All right. Thank you so much for coming out. Let's see what Mr. Uganda has to say. Mr. Uganda says, "You're going to make me run to Google. I have an outdoor toilet, but it is attached to the main house." Okay, they're talking about the outdoor toilets. Uh, thank you, Kiki, and thank you, sir. You are so welcome. And
Oh, yes,
Empath says,
definitely.
"Great show."
Thank you so much.
Thank you, and I will be in touch. Okay, and thank you again. All right, y'all. I will talk to everybody later. Thank you
Bye-bye.
so much.
Thank you.
I'll put that information in my community page. Okay, thank you. Bye bye now. Okay, bye, y'all. I'll see y'all later.